What is up, beautiful people of the internet? This is Patrick from NintenTalk coming back at you with a brand new discussion video. And this is a first for me, guys. This is my first ever response video, and I am responding to another fellow Nintendo YouTuber, Rob from Rule of Two Review. So if you want to check out his original video that I'm responding to, or at the very minimum, go check out his channel because he does some awesome stuff over there. All the links to all of that will be in the description below. The topic today is the Nintendo Switch a handheld or a home console? Now, before you answer this in about 3 seconds, yes, I know this is a hybrid console. It was actually funny because in Rob's video, maybe like not even 5 minutes in, maybe like 2 minutes in, he's like, I know this topic is pointless. Let's talk about it. And I thought that was really funny because this is seemingly a pointless topic, but it's really cool, and it's a good topic to kind of start more conversations. So in the not the description, the comment section, why don't you guys tell me how you play your Nintendo Switch and if you do think it is a handheld or a home console. So before I kind of get into this, I want to tell you guys how I use the Nintendo Switch. So primarily, I would say probably about 80 to 85% of the time, I'm on the couch playing this on my TV. So I'm always playing this in docked mode. Very rarely am I playing it in handheld, although I do like handheld gaming. I grew up on handheld gaming. My first ever console, handheld or home console, was the Game Boy Color. And I did that for years. I loved that thing. But the Nintendo Switch is kind of different. And as I've gotten older, I kind of take in games more on the TV, especially games more recently like Legend of Zelda, Super Mario Odyssey, and even Xenoblade. I like to kind of take in all the environments and kind of pick up on little details of the world. And I feel like playing games on handheld, I can't really do that as easily as I can do on the TV. So just a little disclaimer there. I have nothing against handheld gaming. I just prefer playing this on the TV. But it's quite interesting, my answer, when you compare it to that. So when I think of the Nintendo Switch, I actually don't view it as a home console, which is totally contradicting everything I just said, because I use it primarily, like I said, as a home console. But when I look at the Switch, even if you're just looking at the Switch, it looks like a handheld that is just taking a break. It is just sitting in this dock. And when I think of the Nintendo Switch, although it is a hybrid console, I view it as more of a really, really good handheld that just so happens it can project on your TV in better resolution. That's kind of what I view the Nintendo Switch as, and it's kind of interesting, and I'm going to add layers to this conversation because I can't talk about just this for 15 or however long I go. It's interesting because the way people view the Nintendo Switch as whatever they view it as, because if you're looking at the Nintendo Switch as a home console, it's pretty average in terms of specs. I'm not talking about games or anything. It can run games at 1080, 60, although very few games do that. But if you're looking at the Nintendo Switch in a tech kind of mindset, it lies somewhere between a Wii U and an Xbox One. And I think that's kind of the perfect comparison because it's not super powerful, but it's definitely better in terms of tech, which, by the way, guys, I am not a big tech person, but just by visuals, just by processing and stuff like that, it's definitely better than a Wii U, but I don't think it's quite at the Xbox One standard. So that's kind of how I view it in terms of comparing it to other consoles. So if the average person, and even myself, if I'm looking at the Nintendo Switch in terms of power, I'm not that blown away by it. However, if I'm looking at the Nintendo Switch as I do as a handheld, I am incredibly blown away, especially since it can run games like Legend of Zelda, since it can run games like Doom, which, guys, Doom is not supposed to run on a handheld. That game is so good looking. And the first time I played that game on an Xbox One, I was actually telling myself, like, this is a beautiful game. Of course, it doesn't really compare one-to-one from like an Xbox One or PS4 to the Nintendo Switch, but it's pretty damn impressive for what it can do on a handheld console. So if you're looking at the Nintendo Switch in a handheld point of view, it's easily like a 9 or 10. It's pretty damn flawless, especially if you compare it to like 3DS or Vita in terms of graphics and stuff. Like the Nintendo Switch is phenomenal. But if you view it, like I just said, in a home console setting, it's not that great. But if you view it as both, in the way that Nintendo is probably wanting you to view it as that hybrid, it's pretty damn impressive still. It's probably about an 8 out of 10, and that's just specs and stuff. But I think that the thing that's always set Nintendo apart from the other companies, for me personally, is the software. And that's why we buy Nintendo consoles. We don't buy it for the flashy gimmicks or anything like that, as evidence from the Wii. Because when the Wii came out, you're looking at the PS3, you're looking at the Xbox 360, and you're like, wow, you just know that this is an underpowering console. However, you can't get experiences like Wii Sports or Wii Play or Super Mario Galaxy on those consoles. So it's a very different discussion. But in terms of the Switch, the Xbox One, and even the Scorpio and the PlayStation 4 Pro, they're obviously better than the Switch in terms of specs, in terms of everything else. But I think it's obvious that the software still kind of differentiates those. But if we're going back to the original conversation, I have to view it as a handheld for me. And it's a pretty damn good handheld. You look at just how fast the menus load up. Essentially, it's pretty much a smartphone. You hit the unlock button, essentially. You go into the tablet and you're right in there. It's funny because I was actually going to make a video comparing the times that the Wii U took to boot up and go into like a game or like Netflix or something, and compare it to the Switch loading up to a game or something. It's like at least like 2 minutes faster, and that's not even exaggerating. Like right now, if you have a Wii U and a Switch, load up the eShop on both. And if you guys remember, put the times in the comments, because it is staggering how much faster the Switch is. But overall, it is a hybrid console, and the way that you use it doesn't really matter as long as you're enjoying the games on it. And I think that's an obvious understatement for this whole conversation. But it's kind of interesting that I use the Nintendo Switch primarily as a home console, and at the same time I view it as a handheld. And that's kind of the beauty of this whole system. The Switch to someone else is a completely different piece of tech. But to me, I still use it as a home console. So this is a very interesting topic, and I'm glad I made this video because it's going to just create more and more discussion, and I'm hoping that you guys continue the discussion in the comments. So thank you guys so much again for listening to this little kind of rant video response to Rob. And like I said before, guys, check out his channel, check out some of the videos that he makes. Great stuff over there. But anyway, guys, if you like this content, give it a like. Maybe think about subscribing if you think the content is rad. And I will see you guys